Heyo, I am so sorry that this video was up late. I had completely recorded it and then realized, because I was so backlit, you could not see me, so I figured I should probably re-record. I am going to do a requested video today, and it was some of the do's and don'ts about autism. Before I start, sorry, I have my notes here so I know where I'm starting at. Some of the things you should probably know is that our brains are differently wired. It's like the difference between an Android and an Apple. They're programs. We also have with autism generally comes sensory processing disorder. The abbreviation is SPD. You might see it abbreviated as that in some titles of later videos. But with SPD, it is easy to get overstimulated and go into a sensory overload. So that will come in a little later. So I have 10 things here. Number one is look me in the eye. I hear people say that all the time when they notice that I'm not looking people in the eye, which doesn't happen very often. I mean, people don't notice that I'm not looking them in the eye very often because I give the illusion of making eye contact, because I look slightly below, slightly above, or slightly off to the side, which is why it took so long for me to get diagnosed, because that is one of the first signs that people generally pick up on that someone is autistic. I meant to put this before, but I'm really quick putting this in. This is my experience. It's going to differ for every autistic person. So, but look in the eye, frankly, to me, it's creepy. It's anxiety inducing. And doesn't make sense. Number two is touch. Don't touch us like randomly. My friends, they know that they can't always just give me a hug because of if I am overstimulated, then it will just cause more overstimulation. There's sometimes when they just know that that it's okay to give me a hug because they've been around me enough that they can tell from visual cues that I am totally fine. And then there's other times where they're like, hey, is it okay? This kind of depends on the friend as well. So number three goes with number two, which is ask questions / boundaries. With me, light brushes are physically painful. I'd rather get a second-degree burn than get light brushed because that would be less painful to me. Now, with firm touch, I am totally fine. I have a friend who would, to greet me, she punches me in the shoulder, and that is totally fine, and she knows that's totally fine, though it does get a lot of concerns look from strangers, which we both find amusing. But again, everyone's different. So you need to ask about boundaries and stuff. But if they are not open about their autism, don't be asking them questions about their autism. Like, boundaries, in my experience, yes, okay to ask, but don't be asking tons of questions about autism to them, because they might not be comfortable with it. Me, I am open about my autism. So, I mean, hey, if you have questions, you can drop them in the comments. Number 4, you don't look autistic. That is confusing and disappointing, actually, because of autism doesn't have a look. I mean, it's like the same thing with some of the other disabilities, like blindness doesn't have a look, deafness doesn't have a look. And I've gotten when I've asked guys out on a date, like once they find out that I'm autistic, they will like ghost me, or like they'll say, "Oh, you're pretty for an autistic person." Really? Because it's offensive. I mean, I don't get social cues, and I can tell that that's offensive. It's offensive to me, it's offensive to my community, because there is no look for autism. Number 5, don't tell us it's in our own head. Don't tell us that we're exaggerating. Don't tell us that we are making it up, because we're not. It's a real thing. And it just comes with some different issues. Like, I don't get social cues. I can't tell when someone's being sarcastic. There was one time when my dad was talking about how when my younger sister would start skating, this was a couple years ago, that he would sit on top of our house with a squirt gun to put out any sparks. My initial reaction was, why would she bring matches on a date? I was thinking literally, because that's what I do. Generally the humor that I get, that I understand, are puns. So I love puns, and my friends know I love puns. So, number 6, don't limit us. Because I can do stuff the same way. Not the same way. No, the same way. I can do stuff the same way that other people can. Most stuff the same way other people can. There's some stuff that I have to do differently. But I have worked in food service. I've worked in a grocery store. I go to school. I did sports my senior year of high school. I did fencing club my sophomore year. I can do things. I can drive. I mean, once I get a car, that kind of is a little bit of a requirement. But I can do just about anything that anyone else can do. And I get to decide my limits. I get to decide my limits and then try to push past them. I was told that since I was starting my senior year of high school, and I had never done a sport in high school, and I decided to start cross country. And I was told that I probably wasn't going to letter and not to be disappointed. So I ended up lettering in not only cross country, but in track and field. So I got 2 letters in sports when I was told I wasn't even going to get 1. So let us set our limits and then try to push past them. Number 7 kind of goes with number 6. Don't treat us like children. When people find out I'm autistic, when people first meet me, they treat me like a regular person. But most of the time, when the instant someone finds out I'm autistic, they start to treat me different. They start to treat me with kitty gloves. And being like, oh, you're so strong for living with autism. Like, that's my everyday life. Why is it any different from you living your life? Me having autism, that should not be a factor in how you treat me. I mean, besides the fact that you may have to be more blunt, because beating around the bush does not work. But you may have to be a little more blunt, but just please don't treat us like children. Number 8, actually, you know what, I'm gonna switch this around and make my number 9 my number 8. Okay. No, actually I'm not. Okay, so my number 8 is making fun of our coping mechanisms. We each have different coping mechanisms. They may not be the same as normal, typical people's coping mechanisms. And my coping mechanism won't be the same as may not be the same as another autistic person's coping mechanism. Cause some of mine is, I listen to music. Music is my soul. It is who I am. Without it, I would probably be a totally different person, but that's beside the point. I listen to music, or I will I will start maybe multitasking, like reading something while listening to music or playing something while listening to music. It just depends. And also, sometimes if I am in a very overstimulating situation and I will do a puzzle game on my phone. I can still interact with people. That's just how I'm making it so I can interact with people. Number 9 is getting people out. I get people out. Other neurotypical people can get people out. And so it just, what I mean by getting people out, meaning have been around stimulation in people so much that needs to be away from people for a while, needs to do something that they can do to wind down. Some examples that I do is I will put on my headphones and I will watch YouTube videos, or I'll watch Doctor Who. I may watch Netflix. I could also be playing an instrument, or reading. It just depends. And people getting peopled out, like different people, it looks different ways. I am going to end it on number 10, which is learn about it. Go look for resources and look for stuff that you want to learn about autism. Because we are not all the same. We are not Rain Man. For those of you who don't know what that is, I will link a Rain Man trailer in the description so that you kind of know what I'm talking about. Fair warning, the movie is, I believe, rated R, so, but the trailer's not, so, but if any of you want to venture and watch Rain Man, I can't really recommend it. I can't really not recommend it. I have never seen it. I've just seen the trailers. But we are not all Rain Man. We are not all the same. So you have to take what you learn and also remember that we're all unique. When you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. If you are interested in learning more, I shall put some links down in the description to different places where you can learn a bit more about autism. Sorry about this video being long. This is just one that I felt needed to be a bit longer because there's so much I want to talk about. That's why with my paper, I just put specific what I wanted to touch on, and then I did not write a full script, because that would be forever long, and this video would be even later than it already is. Well, and so I guess I shall leave you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, and if you have any suggestion for future videos, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I will try to answer as many questions as I can as there are in. Let me know what other videos you want me to do, and I will see you guys later. Bye.